So the next step up for convenience is to totally digitize the dollar and have the dollar clear through the central bank. Now, when that happens, it means that the government, the Federal Reserve, and in many ways they're the same thing, will know everything that you buy and all sources of your income, and they'll have all of your savings, and it's all going to be held in not even a piece of paper, which is at least is something that can be private and discreet. When everything is done by central bank digital currencies, they'll know everything about you.
One of the most disturbing financial trends in current times is the development and enforcement of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. CBDCs are digital forms of a country's fiat currency, currently being promoted as the natural progression from using paper money. CBDCs are issued by a nation's monetary authority, in most cases, central banks like the United States Federal Reserve. According to advocates of a complete transfer to the digital form of money, CBDCs promote financial inclusion and simplify the implementation of monetary and fiscal policy. However, experts have warned that central bank-controlled money will come with many risks for common folks. Having a centrally controlled currency means giving a group of people the power to decide if an individual or a group is worthy enough to use the system. At the push of a few buttons, everyone who fails to agree with governmental policies will easily lose access to their money until they get in line. CBDCs pose many risks to our financial system and personal lives. These risks include cyberattacks, financial instability, centralization, and privacy violations. While the first two are just as important, the risks of centralizing money and privacy violations are paramount and, unfortunately, often overlooked in discussions about CBDCs. Despite the risks and strong opposition from the general populace, a very large percentage of central banks are forging ahead with the development of digital money. According to a CBDC tracker by the Atlantic Council, 130 countries, representing 98% of global GDP, are exploring a CBDC. Less than 4 years ago, only 35 countries were considering a CBDC. This is why prominent investors and financial experts warn that you should consider getting out of the system while you still can. In a recent interview with ITM Trading, popular American writer and speculator Doug Casey warns about the risks of CBDCs and how investors can prepare for the gathering storms. Casey warns that we are at a crucial stage in global politics and economy, a crucial stage that is certainly preceding a lot of chaos and turmoil. His solution is to get out of the system and invest in gold, a safe haven asset that has served investors for thousands of years. We will now bring you clips from Casey's interview. Please watch, like and share this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
The financial risks in the world today are huge. Stock market, bond market, real estate market, all of these things are very, very risky today, built upon a gigantic and growing pyramid of debt, which could collapse. So your financial risks are huge today, but your political risks are even larger. So what you have to do, just as you diversify financially, you should diversify politically. Now, how do you do that? You do that by having if you can afford it, and I hope you're in a position to do so, you should have a second residence abroad in a stable country that you enjoy, preferably a second citizenship abroad, because your U.S. passport is not your possession. It's the possession of the U.S. government. It says it right on the passport, and they can cancel it electronically for any number of reasons, and they have done that with people. Increasingly, they're doing it today. So that's the first thing you want to do, politically diversify in a different and more stable foreign environment. That's number one. And within the U.S. and in your second or third foreign country, make sure your investments are in the right place. Now, I favor gold. I've favored gold for a long time, since the early 1970s. Shameful to say that I'm old enough to be able to make that statement. But it's treated me very well. Over the years, it's gone up about, let me see, from $40 to $2,000. It's gone up 50 times, which is not bad for a savings vehicle, and that's what I see gold as. It's the only financial asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability. You can have it in your own palm. So gold is the basis of it. And then beyond that, I think you have to learn to speculate because the financial markets are going to be going up and down like an elevator with a lunatic at the controls, which is actually a very good analogy for what's going on.
It is.
To try to stay ahead of the debasement of the currency. Because the US is getting poorer now and printing up more money, which they're doing by the trillions at this point, is not going to make it poorer. It's going to richer. It's going to make it poorer, except for the people that are connected in Washington and New York. They're getting richer at an accelerating rate. So we're looking at class warfare, maybe even something resembling a civil war, not like the unpleasantness that we had from 1861 to 65. This will be different this time. But it's a very unstable situation.
According to several legendary investors and commentators in the precious metals space, the ruling class needs a big crisis. One that will be big enough to make people more willing to accept and use CBDCs. The experts believe this crisis will be the mother of all crises, with a combination of social, political and economic collapse. Rafi Farber describes this event as the financial endgame that would allow central banks to restart the financial system and forcefully introduce CBDCs. Even a cursory look at recent events in the United States will reveal just how close we are to this endgame. From the massive debts to the rapidly widening political divide, everything suggests that we are heading for some really uncertain times ahead. Let's get back to Casey's interview.
When we buy things, we almost always use credit cards these days. And in China, Sweden, other countries, they really don't even use credit cards anymore. They use their smartphones. So the next step up for convenience is to totally digitize the dollar and have the dollar clear through the central bank. Now, when that happens, the government, the Federal Reserve, and in many ways they're the same thing, will know everything that you buy and all sources of your income, and they'll have all of your savings, and it's all going to be held in not even a piece of paper, which is at least is something that can be private and discreet. When everything is done by central bank digital currencies, they'll know everything about you. And if you're politically incorrect, like the Canadian truckers were recently, where the Canadian government was actually reaching into their personal bank accounts and penalizing them. So the same thing can happen. Digital currencies are a disastrous idea. If you want to use your cell phone, you should learn to use Bitcoin to buy and sell things. And of course, most merchants won't want to take Bitcoin because they're not familiar with it. But that's a solution. It's not to centralize things more and give more power to the state, which is what these CBDCs are going to do. They're a complete disaster. And since these people control the apparatus of the state, they're able to enforce these things on society, and most people go along with it. Look, saying the kind of things that I'm saying doesn't do me any good personally. It's like a flock of chickens. If you're the chicken in the flock that's got a feather that's out of order, all the other chickens will attack you. And that's what happens. The flock has totally been captured by the wokists at this point. So I'm not doing myself any good by saying these things, but it amuses me. And
what do you think? Well, sorry.
And I like to feel that I'm doing the good thing. Of course, these people actually are so bent that they feel what they're doing is the good thing. It's a basic dichotomy of ethics, of what you think is right and wrong, good and evil. That's what it's coming down to. It's not just a question of, is it convenient, or will it work, or will it add to the GNP or subtract from the DNP? It's a question of something much more basic than that. The whole nature of man, and like I said, what's right, what's wrong, good and evil. This is just an application of that.
According to the Atlantic Council, 19 G20 countries are now in the advanced stage of CBDC development, with 9 countries already in the pilot phase. Not only are these countries forging ahead despite opposition, but they are also investing new resources in their CBDC research and development programs. The European Central Bank is on track to begin its pilot for the digital euro, and several emerging market economies like India and Brazil plan to launch their CBDC programs in 2024. The US is not currently developing a CBDC. However, experts believe FedNow is just the first step toward enforcing one. Even the International Monetary Fund is working on a global CBDC. This is happening in all corners of the world, regardless of the opposition. We are all moving from paper money to easily controlled digital currencies. We will have no say in the matter. All we can do to protect ourselves and our loved ones now is to reduce our dependence on the system. Please share your thoughts on the video in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications bell for more videos. Thanks for watching.